There we are. Anyway, the good news is that we didn't actually have any cancer in the biopsies taken.
No, that's absolutely.
Did you know that? Yeah, fine, good.
Still, I picked up your from your message last week. I heard you. I picked up the bit that said good news. By chance, I had a PSA back in probably about 2014 urine test, and it was so she suggested having a PSA, and that's when it was first discovered. My PSA was high, and what is it? She said 17, and I said, what should it be? She said, well, no more than 4. And that's when I started being monitored by the urologist at Prince Royal Hospital, and that encountered over about 18 months. It encountered 2 what I'd call local biopsies. They couldn't find anything. They took 12 biopsies on each occasion. So time is creeping on, and then by late 2014, Christian Brown, under his team, I had the what they call the template biopsy, and they took 32 biopsies, and of course when I went back, of course you've got this on record. When I went back for the appointment, they said, well, no, it's absolutely clear. But of course they were worried because it was climbing all the time. A few months later it climbed to 67, and Christian Brown gave me another template biopsy. This time he found some cells, some tumour and so on. And it's just that echoes in my mind that when you say I had this biopsy and nothing was found, could it be a similar case that despite that it's still there?
It could be. And in the template biopsy which you had done, we have actually, we developed a technique between guys and kings, and we published our data showing that it has an accuracy, if we compare it to removing a prostate and Baker slicing it, it has an accuracy of about 94%, whereas the previous one that you had, the transrectal biopsy, is only about 65%, so it's dramatically better than anything we've had before, but nothing is perfect.
Which, what I was referring to as the template biopsy at King's, that's the one you're referring to as now. It's it's looked upon as much more accurate than previously.
Yes, much more accurate, but not perfect. Nothing is perfect.
Okay.
So I think the good news is that, first of all, the PSA is 4, which is high. We like to see it following radiotherapy, but there are 2 things there. The first thing is your PSA kicked off at 70.
Yes.
So obviously we're way ahead of where you were, 5 years ago. And the second thing is you still have a very big prostate, which is unusual following radiotherapy, and that, I presume, I don't have your MRI in front of me, but from before, but I presume you had a very, very prostate before that. So when we have a large prostate, for whatever reason, after radiotherapy, it's not because of extensive cancer that would certainly be picked up in the biopsies, because of residual benign swelling of the prostate. And if you hadn't had the radiation therapy with the prostate size you have at the moment, which is about 4 or 5 times the normal size, I would accept a PSA anything up to about 10 rather. Now, ordinarily, if somebody's had radiotherapy and PSA goes more than 2 points above the lowest level, we get worried about it. But in your case, I think, because we've got this sizable benign prostate, and not an awful lot to see on any of the scanning, I don't think I would rush to do anything here other than keeping an eye on the PSA over the next year or so.
Absolutely, I appreciate that. It was just that past history, Mr. Muir.
In point of fact, Christian was asking if this did show that there was recurrent tumour there, would I be able to do what we call salvage cryotherapy? And the answer to that would be, if the whole prostate, no, because your prostate is actually too big to freeze the whole prostate. We have a size limit there. So it's a little bit of a strange situation to have such a big prostate after radiotherapy. Not one we've never seen before, but you are one of the group of men where it may well be the case that there is still benign disease driving your PSA.
A benign disease.
Yeah. Against that is the fact that, of course, you did have a much higher than average PSA to begin with, so we've got to take that consideration as well. But at the moment, I think the chance of freezing you or having your prostate removed surgically by Kristen, for example, would be much more likely to do you harm than any good.
Is it your understanding that the radiotherapy caused the prostate to be enlarged, or did I just have an enlarged prostate?
No, I presume it was bigger before treatment. I'm just trying to go back through time to see if we have a staging MRI scan prior to the...
I mean, I found for a few years now, I find I wake, although I sleep very well, I sleep quite deeply and well. I do wake up 3, 4, 5 times during the night to go, the usual to the toilet. That could be a sign of the enlarged prostate, I guess.
Yes, almost that is. But then again, the bladder can become a little bit overactive following previous radiotherapy. Just let me look at this.
I mean, ironically, during the day, my bladder's really strong. Other chaps are going at night. It's just laying in bed at night time that seems to become more sensitive.
Sure. Yes, the prostate before the radiotherapy was only measured as 50. Unusual situation here.
This is going back to about 2014-15. Ultrasound, I think it was. I think they said it showed that the prostate looked a normal size at that time.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't have been for sure. But yeah, the MRI is the most accurate way of looking at it. Just try to look at your MRI scan now. Give me a few seconds. Just taking my measurements. Yeah, I think they may have made a bit of a mistake in the reporting of the MRI this time around. Not the quality, but the shape of the prostate. I think the prostate is probably about 40-50 grams up. I'll get them to look at that again just to check, because it doesn't look that big to me on the image that I'm looking at here.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have all the fancy software my X-ray colleagues have.
Yeah, so it may be smaller than earlier thought, possibly.
Yeah, I suspect probably is a bit, which is what we'd expect, but fine. It's not 70 grams. Sure. No, the prostate doesn't look hugely enlarged, so I think, but no, there's anything much to see in it. And the trouble with doing the MRIs after radiotherapy is the MRI is not so reliable in terms of what we're actually seeing inside the prostate. The PSA PET scan you had did show a couple of abnormalities, but we often see those in the prostate. Neither of them was dramatic. And I think what I would say here is we keep an eye on things. Let's look at the PSA and give in maybe another 4 months, and then 4 months after that. If it keeps going up, we'd probably repeat the PSA PET scan to see if the layers of interest in the prostate have changed. And if they had done, we could try to focus some repeat biopsies more on them. But at the moment, you had the set of biopsies taken, and to miss a tumour in a previous radiotherapy prostate would be very unusual.
Yeah, sure.
So there was nothing zero in medicine, but it'd be most unusual.
As I say, I understand what you're saying about nothing's absolutely foolproof. At the moment, you feel fairly happy that there may not be any, cancer cells there.
Yes, indeed. We did a full set of biopsies. Yeah, we had all 6 septa sampled, and there we are. But I think the plan would be look at the PSA in 4 months' time. If it hasn't shot up 4 months after that, and then if it's gone up at that point, we'd probably repeat the PSA PET scan to see where we are with it.
Okay, just a couple of quick questions, because I know you've got a tight schedule. I did come to see Dr. Victoria Harris after I had the PET scan. She said it didn't seem to be much showing, but she wrote a letter to my doctor, which she obviously copied to me. And the bit she mentioned, she said the PSMA PET, obviously the PET scan, has shown uptake in the prostate, evidence of distance.
Right. We obviously see some uptake in the prostate.
Oh, okay.
It's never completely dark, so it wasn't a dramatic one. But I think key is at the moment we've done PSA PET scan hasn't shown any cancer outside the prostate, and the biopsies, which are full set, haven't shown any cancer in the prostate. So I think PSA in 4 months, then we'll review that. If the PSA does go up, we'll have another PSA PET just for the prostate to look at that.
Is there any other reason it would be pushing the PSA up if it's not cancer itself?
No, inflammation inside the prostate, residual benign disease, or cancer.
Yeah.
Those are the 3 things.
And is there any, if the prostate is found to be, hopefully it's not as enlarged as they thought, is there ways of reducing the size of a prostate?
If it's causing trouble, but if it's not, then no.
I mean, if you wanted to give, if for instance, it got to the point where there was some cancer cells there, and focal treatment could be used, albeit the enlarged prostate, is there a way of reducing that so that it would enable treatment to go ahead?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
But it's not normally the way we do it. We would normally want
Yeah, but if I can avoid that, the better, really. I said if I can avoid that, the better, really.
Yeah, exactly, of course.
Yeah.
But we are where we are, which is a negative set of biopsies, which is not what we expected, which is good, and a negative PET outside the prostate. So.
Okay, I appreciate that. My very, very last question is, if there was, as I say, we're talking, I know it's hypothetical, but if there was at some stage in the future, with the existing focal treatments, and I was, I went ahead with one of those, what one would it probably be?
Well, it depends on what we're doing at the time in terms of trials. I think for post-radiation salvage, the data from cryotherapy is much better than the other options, and that's my preferred focal treatment therapy for the secondary or primary. And the secondary, if we find a significant lump of tumour in the prostate and nothing elsewhere, then I'm very happy to chat with cryotherapy with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I very much appreciate your time, and you may send me a letter anyway.
I shall.
There's a letter in the post. Okay. And I'll obviously hear from the hospital with a date for another PSA, as you say, sometime in the future, in a few months.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And I may see you at some stage as well.
You may do, you may not.
Albeit COVID.
It depends how much longer I'm in the NHS for.
Oh, I see. Okay, I understand. Well, many thanks for your help.
I hope you'll never need to.
No, that's the best option, isn't it? Okay, many thanks. Nice to talk to you. Many thanks, Mr. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye-bye.